Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Rose here with Jessica Bonbon, and this is our reaction and trailer breakdown for Slow Horses Season 4. Slough House, Slough House,
Yes,
Slough
Slough
House.
House.
I am so excited.
I'm really excited too. And I just wanted to put out a thank you to Matt here because I had never really considered taking a look at this show until he's been bringing it up and bringing it up and bringing it up. And, he started to really push further, the past few months to really get into this show. And I decided to give it a look. And it's so fun.
The great thing about Slow Horses is that it was a really well kept secret for like 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And then after season 3, everybody found out the secret at the same exact time. And now the show was up for Emmys. And now it's like really becoming this, I don't want to say generational, but much more popular show than it's ever been before.
I love Gary Oldman. He's my ultimate Dracula. I'm a big vampire fan in general,
Mhm.
but like I remember when he was cast as Dracula way back, I guess it was like 96 or 97 or something.
Mhm.
He's incredible. I've loved him in everything I've seen him in. So, I mean, Gary Oldman was definitely a pull for me to want to come in and watch this show. And, I'll be honest, season one was pretty good. Season two, I wasn't really a fan of, but season three was just 10 out of 10. It was so good all the way through. I'm hooked. I'm hooked.
We're coming into this season on a high. But what we're
Yeah.
gonna do in this video is we'll start things off by kind of laying the groundwork for Slow Horses. If you haven't seen that much of the show, we'll
Mhm.
kind of explain a little bit about what it's about, why you need to be watching it immediately,
Yeah.
moving into the next chapter.
Yeah.
Before we do go further here, though, be sure to hit that subscribe button because every week after Slow Horses wraps on Apple TV Plus, we are gonna be here talking all about whatever is going on with our beloved Slough House misfits, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
And if you're looking for other mystery thriller type shows, we're also covering Only Murders in the Building. It's
Hmm.
going to be coming up quite soon. So, hit that subscribe button to stick with us for that. And also, you can follow us over on Patreon for just $5 a month. You're able to help support Matt and I here to continue to make videos for you guys. And you can vote in polls, which help decide some of the shows that we cover here at the channel, as well as exclusive shows that we cover over there. So, thank you so much to everyone who has joined.
Thank you,
Okay.
guys.
So season 4 is coming up. It's going to be premiering on Apple TV, as Matt said,
Mhm.
on September 4th. So let's give you a little bit of a general idea of what the show is about. Take it away, Matt.
Okay, this is great. I love shows that you can explain in 3 words or less.
Yeah.
Spies that suck. That is Slow Horses, basically summarized. This is Slough House, which is this group of spies who have done very, very terribly in every other aspect of MI5. You're basically being sent to the losers bracket when you sign up for Slough House, and you have here leading the charge Gary Oldman as my guy, Jackson Lamb.
Your guy who
Who,
farts on everybody.
okay, I don't approve of the farting. I don't approve of everything that
Who's he going to fart on this season?
poor
It's Matt.
we start this video off and Gary Oldman is hovering over my shoulder. No, Jackson Lamb, he's good enough at his job to keep his job. He's bad enough at his job to never be taken seriously. And I think that's what makes this show so interesting is that you're watching people kind of succeed every season, but at the same time, the ways in which they survive and the ways in which they do kind of succeed, they're so absurd that you never think for a second that they're ever going to be promoted out of where they are.
Yeah, that's the thing about the show. You have to have a little bit of suspension of disbelief that MI5 would take agents that are kind of bad at their job for whatever reason. They're being sent to this sort of like reject group, and that they wouldn't just be fired.
Yeah.
Like I would assume that if you were this bad at your job or you were this reckless at your job, or like in the case of one of the guys, Roddy Ho, you're really good at your job, but you're just such a jerk that nobody can actually work with you. You don't listen to anybody. then you would just be fired. And as long as you can like put that out of your mind and go into it with just that little bit of suspension of disbelief, it's completely fine. Now,
Yeah.
listen, these shows are based on books that we have not read.
Yeah.
So going into this season, if you have read the books, don't leave the spoilers in the comments for us or for anyone, especially because shows change from the books all the time. So just because something happened in the books does not mean that it's going to end up happening on the show.
Yeah, and that's a big thing with this show. A lot of what makes it fun is kind of watching it and not knowing what's going to happen, who's going to die. This is not a show that is afraid to take people out of the equation. They've done it multiple times.
Yes, they are absolutely not afraid to kill people off, which makes this show incredibly exciting. That even like the biggest of characters are at risk. And so far, like it has been said by Variety that there are only 2 characters that are absolutely making it through this season alive. And knowing that, and one of them not being one of the main characters, River, is really exciting to me.
Yeah, they have set up season 4, and each season really is kind of its own standalone thing in a lot of ways, where
Yes.
they all have kind of a defined beginning, middle, and end. But they've really set up this season with this big idea that we're going to be losing somebody.
Yeah.
Because if you watch the trailer, or they even showed this at the end of season 3,
Mhm.
you've got Jackson Lamb basically saying that he does not want to talk about taking a shower, which ew, but also it's because one of his team members just died, and he says it in such a nonchalant sort of way, which would be unbelievable were it not the fact that this is Jackson Lamb, and this is exactly how I think Jackson Lamb would react to something like this.
Yeah, so let's get into the trailer because that is the biggest takeaway from the trailers. We have this scene where there's, cop cars everywhere and, he's being told to sort of go home and take a shower and sleep it off. And he's just like, listen, one of my team members just died. Why would I be prioritizing anything outside of that? And it's like, okay, well, which one of your team members has died? And here's my tinfoil hat on it.
All right.
I think that they're going to do sort of a bait and switch with this trailer. I think that this particular scene is a setup and that none of his team members are actually dead at this point. Because what we've seen in this trailer is there is kind of a setup that somebody's coming after all the members of Slough House. And we've seen this already happen in other seasons, but that's definitely part of the setup of this season. So I think that they've set up that maybe one of them that was, maybe being targeted more than whoever else, maybe a River or whoever, is dead, but they're actually not dead. And then they're going to do a bait and switch and they're actually going to kill somebody.
I love this. And I love this, number one, just because it's fun and it also just feels...
It's a very smart show.
Yeah, it's a smart show, and it feels like this is something that Slough House in particular would do, because they're not the physically strongest, as evidenced by the fact that they're led by Jackson Lamb. But also, beyond all of that, they're not always going to be the most technologically advanced, but where I think they excel is that they're clever. They have people who have gone through the ringer. They kind of understand, all right, we have to make up for our disadvantages in X, Y, or Z. And I can see Lamb trying to pull something like this off, where he sort of rope-a-dopes people. But then, because once again, this is Slough House, it still finds a way to not really go according to plan, and they end up losing somebody.
Yeah, so let's talk about who we think we could actually end up losing. At the end of last season, we saw Standish and Lamb have this fallout where she learns the truth about Charles. She walks away. She is not in the trailer, folks.
No.
And so it is possible that she just never returned. But if she does return, I could see her being the person that ends up getting killed off. But I could also just see her being like, I'm done with you. I'm just not returning.
I think it's going to be Standish. I just feel in my bones that, okay, you do actually need to kill off somebody important. But at the same time, there are people I do not want to see killed off at this point.
I want to see Standish killed off. She's my favorite.
Okay, I like Standish, but she's no...
Old lady gang.
Okay, she's no Jackson... you high-fiving yourself? She's
That's right.
She's no Jackson Lamb. Like, she's
Okay, nobody's Jackson Lamb.
Okay. Also, kind of my guy, River Cartwright. I do not want to see
Oh,
River. I'm not saying kind of. He's not fully there. River has my favorite moment in the entire trailer where he commandeers the bicycle, and he's just River is
how
the
is River still alive? Like, I don't think they're gonna kill him
no.
this season. I do think he's on the table. I think he's probably gonna be, if they do like a fake out, he'll probably be the person that they're faking out. But like, how is River not already dead? To be honest,
He should have died near the end of last season.
he should have died in season 2.
It really but he's a cat. He has 9 lives. He drives really terrible bicycles. He's not good at his job. River does not have really many redeeming qualities, but that's also kind of why there's a part of me, a very demented part of me, that wants River to sort of be the last person standing, just because it would be very, very ironic. Because I think out of all the bad job people at Slough House, he is probably the worst, and he's also
Yes.
he's the most relatable to me, to be totally honest, because I think I would also be terrible at a spy, and I want to watch people who I can relate to on some level.
You just like River because River makes you think that you could be a spy.
Yes, I love River. River, I mean, he's such a reckless character, but I think he still has a lot of meat on that bone. I think there's a lot of good stories still to tell, and there are still with Standish as well. I'm not trying to pretend otherwise, but it just does feel like losing her at this point, especially after everything that happened with Lamb last season, where they had that big argument. I think it would be something, and it would really rattle him and sort of make him be like, okay, I've lost this person, and this is how I lost this person at this point. And he tries to act like things don't affect him that much, but I think it really would.
Yeah, I think it would affect him. I mean, even having Standish not really around to help him in the office a little bit last season, like he's lost without her. He can't make a cup of coffee
Yeah.
without her. He needs her to be around. But yeah, I think there's going to be a lot going on with River this season. We even saw in the trailer that his grandfather is still not going to be doing that well. He's going to be getting more
Yeah.
and more confused, more and more paranoid, and not really know what's going on. And River's going to be sort of dealing with that, as well as dealing what's going on with Slough House. So who else could we lose? If it's not Standish, Louisa, I mean, she has had a death wish ever since Min died. She has
Yeah.
been a lot more reckless. She's taking on a lot more dangerous jobs. So is it possible that she could end up going? I think she could.
I think she could. I think there's a chance it could be Shirley. I think
She's
it's
pretty reckless.
Yeah,
too.
that's the thing. I mean, this is what makes this show so exciting, is that you have a lot of people who are risk takers, and this is in part why they're in Slough House in the first place. They don't follow the rules.
Not Marcus, though, who is not reckless, who seems to be pretty good at what he's doing. Like, I know he's likely there for this, like, gambling thing, but, is that really it? Like, could they not have found a way to use him? He seems like he's very capable.
Hey, they need at least one person who can kind of sort of do their job most of the time.
Hey, listen, we have Roddy Ho, who is also one of my favorites. He is ridiculous, but he is so good at his job. It's just nobody wants to work with him
No.
because he's just kind of a terrible person to work with.
Well,
But he's not going to be one of the
No.
people that die. Variety has confirmed that Roddy Ho and Jackson Lamb are going to be making it to the next season, and they have said that they are the only 2 people that are confirmed.
yeah, it's a great way to start off this season, and it's a great way to sort of just remind all of us the dangers that come along with this job. And I mean, it seems like
Yeah.
everybody at Slough House could be targeted this season. We see once again another structure go kaboom in the trailer, and there's
Yeah.
nothing that Apple TV Plus loves more than explosions and a
I
lot of their stuff in general. But the real appeal to this show to me is that it is action packed. It's got a lot of those
Yep.
thriller aspects to it, but it's just also very funny. It's very biting. It has a little bit of a Succession quality to it in its tone, and I just think there's so much to get into in every single episode. And I love shows that can tell a story that meaty in a short amount of time.
Yeah, Succession's actually a really good comparison because, I mean, everybody on that show was so unlikable.
Yeah.
And a lot of this group is really unlikable as well, but you still find yourself getting involved and rooting for them in some kind of way to be able to kind of get out of where they are or what they're doing.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's what we got on the Slow Horses season 4 trailer. I mean, we could not be more excited to talk about the show when it comes back. Let's live up to season 3, please. We already know there is a season 5. There are rumors out there a season 6 is coming.
Yeah, who do you guys think is the person who's going to die? Do you think that it's a fake out? Leave it in the comments for us.
Yeah, and be sure to hit that subscribe button. Like Jess said, we have Only Murders in the Building coming up
Yes.
as well. And you can support us further. Just $5 a month. Join our Patreon. You can vote on polls, help us figure out what we're going to cover next. And thank you to our patrons.
Thank you.
We'll see you here next time.